We all understand that next season is very important for Stephanie White to get off to a strong start with Caitlin Clark. If it's a situation where Clark isn't allowed to play with the type of liberty on offense that she needs in order to get her game going and get her teammates going, then it's going to be a situation where Stephanie White's job is going to be on the line, in my personal opinion. There's too many things that the Fever organization have to factor in here. This would be Caitlin Clark's third season in Indiana. We got to see some progress with her shooting from the field. We know she struggled this season, but she had that injury. On top of that, we need Caitlin Clark having a consistent scheme on offense so she could be at the best and help the Fever get to that next level. We thought the Fever this past season would take that step after they made the first round of the playoffs. We know the injuries were a big part of what happened. We also have to acknowledge Stephanie White's scheme on defense had a factor to play with the offense because she doesn't have a lot of creativity or innovation with making adjustments. The game plan is great, but when it comes to adjusting to what the defense is throwing at the offense, she doesn't have a lot of things to counteract that scheme. So I just think it's very important for next season that Clark has the ability to either score or pass the ball to her teammates as much as possible. Now, I want to play the clip here from Sophie Cunningham where she talks about the importance of having the right system with athletes, because if it's out of sync or if it doesn't align with their strengths, then what happens is frustrations with the players and coaches. So let's see what Sophie had to say here.
You saying that, I think that is so important that a lot of people do not understand that, like, everyone who gets drafted are really great athletes. Really great athletes. But I think when you're at this level, you have to be able to adjust fast. And the system that you're drafted in and the situation you're drafted in will hands down make or break your career. And a lot of people don't.
And that's a good call out because if you look at Steve Nash, for example, if he had played in the Spurs offense in the early 2000s, slow the game down. We're going to play tough defense. We're going to make it hard on our opponents, and we're going to control clock. That would limit Steve Nash because he's not the best defender. But when he has his team playing at a higher pace, running in transition, that offense is unstoppable. So under Mike D'Antoni, he fits better with that system because it's a 7-second offense. You have players on your roster who are offensive minded. And yes, the Suns did suffer defensively. So if they had a defensive minded coach on that team, I think the Suns would be even better, but they still won a ton of games. Steve Nash was a back-to-back MVP winner because the system fit his style. You look at the offense he had in Dallas with Don Nelson. He's another offensive-minded coach. So these coaches play to the favor of Steve Nash because that fit his style of play. If he's on a team like the Spurs with Greg Popovich, where they want to muck things up, make it ugly on the opponent, then it becomes harder for Steve Nash to maximize his strengths. Doesn't mean those coaches are bad at what they do or Steve Nash is a garbage player. No, it's just you have to be in the right system. And when you're not, it makes it harder for you to thrive and maximize your strengths and talents.
Understand that. But I really don't think a lot of people understand that, like, if you're in the wrong system, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're not going to be successful on that team. You get what I'm saying?
Do you not think, though? Yes, I do think basketball allows individual players to take over, to like propel a team more so than one good player on a football team does.
True.
Whereas, like, no matter where, like, I would imagine a healthy Caitlin or like a healthy LeBron, wherever they go, that team will probably be above 500.
Yep. But
is that fair to say?
Yes, but I think that the reason behind that is because those types of athletes, they get to come into an organization, they have the green light and they can do whatever they want. Where that is very rare to get drafted and be able to control the whole system.
Right.
The thing is, Caitlin Clark needs more freedom on offense where she has the ability to do what she wants so they can be at their best when it comes to running things. And Caitlin Clark doesn't have to sit in a corner while Kelsey Mitchell's driven the ball around. I'm not saying you don't run that offense because Mitchell is a very good isolation player, but Caitlin Clark needs the ball in her hands so she can be at the best. So if you want to run sets for Mitchell, save those, but get Clark in rhythm with her teammates and make sure her shooting's in rhythm. If you take away possessions from Clark, so you go 3 or 4 minutes without Clark touching the ball or just running the offense, that's where things get very stagnant and very frustrating for the Fever's offense. We saw in fourth quarters constantly they were really bad in those moments. And I think White needs to emphasize pace with his team. If they can run in transition and Clark is at the helm of that offense and she's given the tools and White steps out the way, they're going to be dangerous. Maybe you need to hire an offensive assistant coach so White can just focus on the defense and your assistant can focus on maximizing the Fever's offense.
Was CC making decisions like?
Yeah.
With it? Yeah.
As she
No
should.
way.
As she should. But I also think that like
Well,
go ahead.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that. She's just young. I just didn't think that.
But when you have a generational talent like that, she should have a lot to say of the system. I also think when you have like when she got in with Kelsey Mitchell, like those two, it is very interesting to see how that they have. It is interesting to see how they've grown to be teammates because both of them need the ball in their hands. But I think that they have played together enough that they both get that opportunity. And when they both can elevate each other, that team is unstoppable. You get what I'm saying?
And that's key because you need both those players at their best. So whatever their strengths are, White has to figure out how to maximize the best out of Mitchell and out of Clark. It's very important for the Fever, like I said, next season to get off to a very strong start because if we're seeing the same frustrations out of Clark and the fans notice it and White's not willing to make adjustments in game and change things up, then she's got to go. Look, I understand defense is important, but you got to outscore your opponents. And when you have fourth quarters like they did last year, where they were in games or they have these and they blew them, you got to point to the offense. Like the defense can only do so much, but you can't always contain the best players. They're going to cook up. It's very important to understand your players' strengths so you can maximize what they can do in the basketball court. So have your systems in place, get the right players around Clark because you need shooters. You're going to need versatile people on this team. If you do that, I believe the Fever will be a top 3 team in the WNBA. I believe they have a very good shot of making the finals and winning the whole thing. It's really going to come down to their systems, getting off to a strong start and make sure White stays out the way. We shall see how that all plays out. Appreciate you guys watching today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Sophie had to say about players playing in the right system. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.